Welcome to this module on Services Outline. Now, this is the first of the modules where you will be completing it on your own, which will then be checked by myself and my team. Now, this one may seem a little confusing, or you may not understand the purpose of it until it has been completed. However, it all just comes down to clarity. So what we are trying to do with this module is really dive deep into your services and map it to a certain list of benefits, or as we call them, principles. So here's the formula so far. What we've done so far is gone through the My Kind of Client framework call, and by the time you're viewing this video, you should be a few days away from receiving that framework. Now what we're going to do here is go through your services and map them to a list of benefits. What I mean by this is we're going to figure out exactly what the benefits are for your clients when they sign on to work with your bookkeeping or accounting business. From there, we will have 100% certainty and clarity around how exactly to get in front of the right people and market to them with something that speaks directly to them. So again, we combine the MKC framework with your services outline, which I'm about to go through now, which will allow us to create your video series that speaks directly to the prospect. It will allow us to create your sales script that will also speak directly to your prospect, and your Facebook ads and organic outreach messages, which will also speak directly to your prospect. So here's sort of the foundation and the vehicles which will get us results. So the MKC framework and the services outline set the foundation here on the left to creating our client acquisition vehicles over here on the right. So without the MKC framework and the services outline, any video series, Facebook ads, organic messages, or sales script you create will essentially render ineffective. That's why the foundations are so important. Now let's go to the document. You should be able to find your link in the resources section, and this is what we will be working off in this module. So, open up the services outline document here, make sure you have the right one, and then press File up here on the top left hand corner, and then select Make a Copy. And then name it Services Outline or whatever you want to call it, and make a copy for yourself in your Google Drive so that you can edit it and fill it out. Now, on the left here are the services. Depending on how your business is structured, you can either put in each individual service you may offer, which I recommend, or you can put your packages here. It really is up to you. It depends on what you're generally offering the prospect when they get on a call with you. Next to that column is the price point / price range column. Now in here you should be as accurate as possible. Enter as much detail about the service as possible. Now next to that column is the features column. What are the tangible features and what is the tangible process you provide for the client when they sign up for this service? Again, be exact, and I'll run through an example in a second. Next to that is the problems column. What I mean by this is what is the problem the prospect is facing when they decide to reach out to you? Or what problem is your service solving that will allow you to create marketing messages that will speak to people that have this problem? And finally, in the last column over here on the right, is the benefits and principles column. So, when you know exactly what problems your prospects are facing and the way in which you can help them and solve their problems through your bookkeeping or accounting services, you can then drill it down to certain benefits. Now, this is the most important column as this is what will be used in your marketing and direct outreach and video series. So make sure you really think about this and make sure they line up with your services. Alright, so let's go through an example. Now I'm just doing this off the cuff to show you my thought process when going through this. This is all about the thought process. I'll just do it for one service, but of course you should do this for your top 3 services if you're serious. But the more you do, the better. If you can do all your services, I suggest you do that. So let's start in the first column here. Let's say we're offering monthly bookkeeping services to start off with. Let's keep it very simple here. Let's say that our price point is $500 to, let's say, $3,000 per month. And let's be detailed here. So we're going to say depending on what is required by the business. Of course, the more precise and descriptive you are here, the better. If you price by revenue percentage or by the number of receipts or whatever it is you do for this service, explain that in here in detail. Now we move on to the features column. So let's say with our monthly bookkeeping service, let's say we monitor the client's bank accounts to make sure there are no fraudulent transactions. Let's also say we create essential financial documents for them. Let's say on top of this, we plan for their taxes and make sure everything is forecasted. Then let's also add, we send the client alerts for overdrawn accounts if that was to occur. And finally, we create and implement a budget for the client and ensure we track everything to ensure they are within this budget. Awesome. So do you see how you need to write out the process you take when you're delivering this service? Be descriptive. This will help you write out the benefits the client receives. That we will fill that out in the last column, but you can't do that unless you know the process or the features of your service. So spend some time thinking about exactly what do you do for the client. Next is, why do they actually need this service? Like, what are some tangible problems this prospect is facing? What is the sense of urgency for why they are signing up for your services? So let's say, for example, the business owner is mainly worried about compliance. Now let's expand on that. Let's say they understand that they need bookkeeping services to make good business decisions. However, they're mostly worried about compliance. Let's expand on this even further. They understand. Actually, let's go back a bit. Let's just say that on top of this, they are faced with the problem of not knowing what their cash position is every single week and are worried they might face a shortfall. And let's just sum this all up. They really want to figure all of this out, but don't have the time nor the expertise to know where to start and actually how to execute on this. Awesome. All right, so now again, the key here is to be exact. Refer to your services. So let's think of another example. Let's say the prospect is worried about problems such as, now let's get really precise here. Let's say misclassifying expenses, not saving receipts, or accidentally recording transactions. in a prior period. Alright, so see how this is really exact? We're talking about tangible issues the prospect is facing, such as misclassifying expenses and not recording their financials properly. So make sure you're really exact and detailed with this. Think of your past clients. Why did they come to you? What problems did they tell you they were facing? So once you have all of that, let's move on to the last column, the benefits and principles column. Again, this is the most important as it serves as the baseline for the fundamentals behind your marketing messages, your ad copy, your video series, and your organic outreach, all of which we will cover later in ClientLoop, but we can't do that unless we have this whole thing nailed down. So continuing on with our example, we can see that from our monthly bookkeeping services, based on the features that solve these certain problems that we have here, some of the benefits could be, let's say, firstly, the business owner is able to save a lot of money. Let's expand on this and say one of the main benefits of outsourced bookkeeping is the fact that it reduces cost. By outsourcing and hiring a bookkeeper, you're really only paying for the need you help. And let's finally say there is no need to pay for an employee, which usually carries extra costs such as insurance and benefits. So that's one of them. Now another one we could say is the client receives a high level of service through our high level of expertise. So let's say the client receives Now again, we need to expand on this to get full clarity around our services and the benefits behind our services. So let's say we offer expert advice when it comes to knowing your numbers. This allows the client to focus on the important day-to-day things he or she may have to take care of. And they have the confidence to know that all their financial reports meet regulatory and compliance standards. And let's sum this up by saying we specialize in bookkeeping, so the client has peace of mind to know that their business is being taken care of. Alright, so now we have two. Let's keep going here just so I give you a lot of examples so you can see my thought process when I'm going through this. So another one could be we have access to the latest technology. Therefore, the client never has to worry about constantly researching what the best accounting and bookkeeping software is. And we have expert trained staff handling the software for the client. Alright, so let's write down just one more, just so you see, all the examples I'm giving for this service here, and exactly how you should go about this. So let's write down the final one. Let's say signing up for this service allows the client to focus on their core business. And let's expand on this. Let's say it is beneficial for the client to let go of certain tasks that would usually consume a lot of time and energy for them. And let's sum this up. So by outsourcing it to us, the client is no longer distracted by the worry of what is happening with their day-to-day financials. This allows them to focus on their day-to-day work and their customers. So essentially what they're doing here is saving time. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's just format it here so it's a lot more organized. Let's put all of them here. Let's merge these vertical over here. That's all good. This one, we need to merge it here. And there we go. So, once that's done, do it for another 2 to 3 services. It's even better if you could do it for all your services, but stick to your main ones. Just get it done, and then move on to the next task. I've given you space here to do as many as you want, but 2 to 3 is really optimal, especially the ones that you have the most clients for, because these are the ones that will sell the most moving forward. Then send that through to me when it's done, and we will make sure everything looks good and that you've done it correctly. So again, let's sum this up and go over the purpose of the services overview. So we combine the MKC framework, which you will receive in the coming days, and we combine this with your services outline. More specifically, the principles backing your services. The last column that we just completed. This will allow us to create your video series and value funnel that speaks directly to your prospect, your sales script that will speak directly to your prospect, and your Facebook ads and organic outreach messages, which will also speak directly to your prospect. So, that's it for this step. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions at all about this. Otherwise, complete the spreadsheet and then send it through to me, and I will run through it, give you all the feedback you need. If there's anything we need to change, we will change that, and we will move on to creating your funnel. All right, adios. We will talk soon. See ya.